packager?
What the hell is a deal packager?
Yeah.
Who's this guy that's finding these landlords, finding properties and bringing them to us? Why is he getting paid for it?
So you were an agent who had done everything. You came across this deal packaging thing. You joined the multiple streams of property income event. You got a deal. You realized it worked. Realized that you needed to invest more in that training. And now, since April, have how many deals?
39.
39 deals. Now, if that's not a success story, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Hello there, and thank you for joining us today in the Progressive Studio, where I am interested in sharing your success stories. I want to hear how you have been successful in property, how you have successfully implemented what you have learned and taken that forward to make real profits. And our guest today has done just that. We are joined by Liam McCallum, who is absolutely smashing it in the world of property. Liam, it's great to have you here.
Thanks very much for having me. It's great to be here. Great
Fantastic.
To be here.
So tell me, before property, who was Liam McCallum?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in property for a lot longer than I've been involved here at Progressive. So I've been a letting agent since 2015. So in the world of lettings, it was really good because I understand how to look after someone else's property. I understand the compliance regarding running a tenancy and so forth. So that was 2015. I joined the letting agency at Sillars, where I'm at the moment. And I worked in every possible role in the company. So I was maintenance coordinator, I've done accounts and credit control, I've been out valuing, I've done everything possible. Around 3 years ago, became the branch manager there, and I was running the branch.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely great, but still in a job, still being paid a wage, still exchanging time for money. And it's kind of thinking, well, what's next? What's the next steps? Then we kind of thought, well, let's start to look at growing this. And I was given the opportunity by the company to become a shareholder and take shares of the company. And that's where I am now. And that probably was spiraled by our journey here at Progressive initially. We found not many new landlords were coming into the agency, and it was kind of one of those we're looking and thinking, this managed portfolio we've got is now starting to dwindle. We're getting less landlords, no new coming in. If it continues on this trajectory, we're going to have nothing left.
And what was the timescale for that? What years are we talking this was happening?
So we kind of started, it was kind of towards COVID, and as we're coming out of COVID, that landlords started selling up. Interest rates went absolutely silly.
Yep.
We all know the story there, and landlords were feeling the pressures. They're just exiting the market. Not many new ones coming in, and it was kind of, how do we beat the curve? What do we do?
Absolutely. So as an agency, you were facing a problem.
Yeah.
I said at the beginning, in every problem, there's an equal or greater opportunity.
There is.
This is where you have to change tack. Now, before we go into how you find Progressive and what you've learned from Progressive, you are an agent who's done everything that there is to do, right? All the different jobs, right up to a point where you're running an agency.
Yes.
And there are some people who will be starting out in property and they will think that agents know absolutely everything that there is to know about property.
Yeah.
So why did you feel that you needed to maybe perhaps reach out to Progressive or join Progressive?
So as an agent, I at one point thought I knew everything there was to know about property. I could tell you the Housing Act 1998, I could tell you what the gas safe regulations are, and I knew everything about property. It was only when I kind of sat down and we'd seen a couple of properties had been brought in by this deal packager. What the hell's
a deal packager?
What the hell is a deal packager?
Yeah.
Who's this guy that's finding these landlords, finding properties and bringing them to us? Why is he getting paid for it? I've been doing this for free for years. Landlords have been telling me they want to buy one. I'll go and view it, give them the details, and we'll get the management fee, so it's all good. And what's this?
What's this?
I started researching and looking online a little bit and came across Progressive and looked a bit into it. And then I saw an ad for multiple streams of property income.
Multiple streams of property income. Progressive's flagship 3-day event. Tell us about that.
So it was over Christmas, saw the advert for the one January of this year. And it was kind of like, do we, don't we, do we? New Year, it's not the best time to go. There's lots happening. It's not the right time. We thought, actually, we're going to do this so we can beat this curve of landlords selling and enable us to grow. So we're going to do it. And we need some training. We need to do something. And we bought an online course from somewhere for not a lot of money, and we looked at it, and it was a load of crap. It told us what we knew already. We thought, that's not really much help. So we thought, well, let's go at this multiple streams of property income. We'll get some stuff from there that we can implement. It's free. It's costing us nothing. That'll get us going.
And did you get some stuff from the multiple streams of property income event?
We did. And we got a lot of little snippets that were actionable that we took back and we started putting in place. And then it was kind of, well, what's next? Where do we go next? What's the next steps? And we always
just before you go into the next step,
Yeah.
so what sort of things did you start putting in place from what you learned at the multiple streams of property income event? Given that you are an agent of great experience, what did you actually learn at the multiple streams of property income event that you could start immediately implementing? If you would like to learn more about these strategies and how to make them work for you, come on down to our flagship Multiple Streams of Property Income event and learn directly from the UK's leading property experts, Kevin McDonnell, Tony Gargan, and Wendy Bromwell.
The fact that we could charge for finding a landlord a property was a big one, to be honest, because we're running around and doing that stuff for nothing, for the management fee. So being able to say to landlords, okay, we now offer deal packaging as a service, and understanding what that service was, what it entailed, was a huge one to start with.
Wow.
And just being able to say we're offering this and add that layer into the business. Where it got intricate and where we got a bit stuck is, well, how do we protect ourselves on a contract to make sure we get paid? What paperwork do we put in place? How do we secure the deal? How do we put the two together? And it's all good understanding what the principles of the process is and how it happens, but the ins and outs of how you actually do that were the bit that we were lacking. And we hit a little bit of a wall, and it was like, okay, we know what we're doing. We know we need to find investors. We know we need to find deals, and we put the two together and get a fee. How?
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 The big question.
Yeah, and that's where we kind of thought, well, how? And I remember we were in a staff training day, and the staff had gone for lunch, and myself and the business partner sat there saying, well, how are we going to do this? We're trying to train the staff on this new deal packaging service, but we don't really know what we're doing ourselves. It's the blind leading the blind, and I thought we're only going to end up causing ourselves problems.
Yeah, and that's true, but you were still taking action though, and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's coming through from this conversation so far is that at every point you're taking action, you know, and you're thinking, you know, should I try this? But every point in this, you drive yourself forward by making the choice to move forward.
Absolutely.
So you're now in the office in your agency, and you're thinking, how do we move this forward? So what happened next?
And it kind of dawned on me, the kind of the pitch, the presentation we'd had on the deal packaging course here at Progressive, and I thought, well, should we just see what the costs are, see what's involved? So I remember I rang up the office, I spoke to Adam, our account manager, and I said, look, we're thinking about doing this. And I spent an hour or so convincing him, talking him around. It's going to give us everything we need. It's going to give us the knowledge. It's going to give us the skills, all the documents, the paperwork, everything we need to get up and running, we're going to have from this. Now, at this point, this was the January, we'd done multiple streams. We'd kind of started off the deal packaging, and then we're now at March, and we'd done one deal. And it was kind of like, one deal, it's not really changing much. It's brought us one fee in and one new landlord on the books. So we need to scale up.
So you went to the multiple streams of property income event, and then you got a deal from what you learned there.
From what we learned there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then you realised you wanted to scale it up because the proof was in the pudding, right? It worked.
It worked.
And you wanted to scale that up. And in order to get top level training, takes an investment, right?
It does, absolutely.
And do you think the investment has paid dividends?
Absolutely. We have 10x our investment at least, if not more. So,
and what's the time scale for that?
So we signed up on the masterclass in April of this year. We got going in the April. Went straight on to the mastermind off the back of that because we thought this is loads of information. We need to just keep us going. We need to be held accountable. We need to be driven and pushed. And yeah, April this year we got going. We've now done 39 deals.
39 since April.
39 single-let, buy-to-let deals packaged and sold to investors.
So you were an agent who had done everything. Mm-hmm. You came across this deal sourcing thing that you'd never heard of, this deal packaging thing. You looked into it a little bit more. You joined the multiple streams of property income event. You implemented something that you learned there, the techniques that you learned there. You got a deal. You realized it worked. Realized that you needed to invest more in that training, despite the fact that you have all this experience as an estate agent. And now, since April, have how many deals?
39.
39 deals. Now, if that's not a success story, I don't know what is. 39 deals. So tell us, how did you do it? You know.
So we found our second deal in the room on the deal packaging masterclass. So we do the find a deal exercise, and we got it agreed in principle. We rushed to view it the day we got back. Offer accepted.
Offer accepted. So the first the first day we found a deal in the room, and we went and viewed it. And got it. Wow. Congratulations.
It was then the tricky part. Well, we've got this secured. Who the hell are we selling it to? Who's going to buy it? And I remember hitting the phones frantically. I rang every landlord that was on our books at the time, everyone I'd ever spoken to in the past that invested in property. I've got this amazing deal. Are you interested? Do you want it? And I spoke to one of our quite long-standing clients, been with us a little while, and I kind of put it to him. He said, yeah, I'll take it. And I was like, at this point, we hadn't put any contracts in place. We had them in the deal packages toolkit. We hadn't branded them. We hadn't changed them for us. And it was all hands on deck. Let's make this happen. Let's make this happen. And we did. Got it over the line. It's now refurb's finished on it. It's now kind of waiting on refinance. It's pretty much at its other end. And then it was kind of this works. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. And it's just been a case of consistently looking at them, stacking numbers, consistently marketing for investors, and we've almost got it to a point now where our deal packaging business is pretty much autonomous, and it just happens. It spirals. So at the beginning, I imagine, did you find it really challenging at the beginning? I mean, you're talking about hitting the phones and hitting the phones. It's really, really difficult, and we're finding it difficult for agents to give us deals, because bear in mind, we have an agency in the town, we're direct competition, and
yes,
they're like, you're just trying to cut us out, and I'm like, look, I'm not trying to cut you out, you're going to get
Please,
your fee.
you're going to get your fee. We're giving you a great deal here.
We're genuine. We're trying to work with you. And
yes.
it was difficult to break those boundaries. We've now got some cracking relationships with agents. Some of our local agents give us stuff before it even hits right move, that sort of thing, because they realise that we know what we're doing and we're about delivering results. But yet the challenges were real at first. It was hard to... We're finding where we are, we're in the northeast. Every other house is a deal of some way, shape or form, because the purchase prices are so low. For someone in the south, it looks great. That was quite easy for us finding deals. Where it was difficult was finding investors and building that investor portfolio up and getting people there ready to buy. And we just found through absolute consistency, consistently doing what we're doing, shouting about what we're doing, shouting about our results, our successes, that it started to build and build and build to now it's flipped on its head. I've got more investors wanting deals than I can cater for. And it's okay, how do we find the deals now? And it's a really nice problem to have, but constantly different challenges coming up. And I think having the mastermind that we've been on, having that accountability and support has been really good, because when we hit those problems, someone's there to guide us through and help us out the other end. So,
and that's what I was going to ask, because we see this time and time again, and a lot of people, and some people do achieve this, they go out and by themselves, all fired up and wanting to go, but then the reality hits that actually it does take hard work, it does take that consistent effort, it does take all of those phone calls to start building that up. And so the mastermind, did you find that actually really helped keep you accountable?
Really helps to keep accountable, because you've got those actionable goals every single month. And I'm kind of one of those where if I've got a goal, I don't like to just meet that goal, I like to surpass it. So if I was tasked to speak to 10 agents, I'd go and speak to 15 agents. If I had to view 20 properties, I'd view 40 properties. I've just always been that kind of way inclined, that I don't like to just meet expectations, I like to surpass them. But I think having that drive, but being accountable to something to aim for, because if I was accountable to myself, I'd set myself a goal of, I'll view 5 properties this week, I'll speak to an agent this week, and really to beat that's quite easy. But having something that's you're driven towards, a focus to be working for, really, really helps. And also having someone to ring when it doesn't go as planned and say, this has happened, what do I do, help, what's next?
And just having that guidance.
It is.
Wow. So one of the things that a lot of people find challenging is speaking to agents. And you mentioned earlier that you were calling the agents in your town and you were getting the no's and you were getting the no's. How did you overcome that in the end? Because that's one of the questions we get asked a lot here.
Absolutely. I think it was just kind of consistency. Consistency, and even though you got the no's, I don't take no as no, I take no as not yet. Is the way I look at that. So if an agent says no, it means no, you're not getting one offers yet. So I'll keep going back and keep going back.
So a no isn't a no until it's a yes.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not a no until it turns to a yes. That's it. And just keep going, be consistent. And that's everything we've found in our journey so far is about consistency and just continuing to do it. Not let the rejections bother you. Don't let it set you back. Just, okay, not yet. Next time. Keep going and keep going. Once agents started to see that we were doing deals and we were selling properties,
proof was in the pudding.
And the first time they gave us one and it sold, they then had a fall through and rang and said, I've just had a sale fall through, can you help? Of course I can, absolutely, yeah. And then we saved that one for them, that moved on, and then they start to realise that you're worth your salt, you know what you're doing, and proof's in the pudding, like you say. So we're now, thankfully. There's one agent in town that still won't entertain us, but
it's their loss, right?
Their loss, absolutely, because we could probably sell more of their properties for them than they can. So that was a bit, bit sure of myself there, wasn't I? But
the thing is, like, you've built that surety because, as you said, the proof is in the pudding. You're working with investors, you're finding the deals, you're working with your local agents in your area, you're making stuff happen.
Yeah.
And that agent, by not acknowledging that, not working with you, is missing out.
Of course.
And this is a really interesting thing for everybody out there who is maybe starting in property. Agents are a hard barrier to break through potentially at the beginning because they don't know you and they don't know if you will deliver on what you say you will deliver. But if you go consistently and you show them what you're doing and you show them how they, and maybe you can agree with this or not, it's probably all about how they can make their fee.
Absolutely.
And how you're not going to cut them out. And if you can keep going and going and going and showing them that you are worth your salt, then that agent might just say yes. And I know from lots of stories in the progressive community and from my own experience that all it sometimes takes is one agent. Just one agent. And
absolutely.
when you show that one agent what you do, they can provide you with so many properties.
So many opportunities from the one agent. And then the other agents catch wind of it, that you're working with them and they want a slice of the action, because why should they miss out?
Why should they miss out? Absolutely. So anybody who's out there who finds it challenging to speak to agents, just remember we have an agent extraordinaire right here. And he found it challenging to begin with. So how would I approach an agent? So obviously, I will go into the agency, I will say what I want to say, I'll get my no. Where do you go from there?
We just kind of keep going back and keep going back. So because we're kind of, what we're pitching is straightforward buy-to-let purchases. So we're kind of going in and saying, look, do you have anything that maybe has need for add value, need a quick sale, that sort of thing. And again, some will say, well, they need to be on the market. We need to have a fair opportunity for everyone. Well, that's absolutely fine. Put them on the market, but just let me know when they're there, because we're interested in that sort of thing. And I think just being kind of remembering that the agents are only human at the end of the day. I know myself from my own experience, agents on the front desk of an estate agent's office aren't paid a lot of money. They aren't given a lot of training, and they probably don't understand what you're talking about. So when you're asking them for, do you have any BRR opportunities, they look and think, the hell are you talking about? You're making things up.
So don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple.
Keep it really simple. Explain what you're looking for, and then just follow up and follow up and follow up, and become eventually that person that the agent almost can count on if they need your help. I need a viewing on this one because it's sticking. Give me a ring. We've got this property coming that's really difficult to shift. Give me a ring. That sort of thing.
So no problem is insurmountable.
Absolutely. If there's a problem and we can solve it, we absolutely will try our best to do so and give it a shout.
That's absolutely fantastic. And you were saying at the beginning about, you were unsure. I mean, you had all this experience as an agent, and then you discovered this deal packaging thing, and then you were unsure about where to go from there. Now you're really crystal clear that having joined us here at Progressive, that's really accelerated your journey. Let's talk brass tacks. How has it changed your life?
How's it changed my life? So a lot of people do this for more time and more freedom. Unfortunately, every time I create myself more time, I then employ that time back into creating myself more time, if that makes sense. So I'm my own worst enemy, because I kind of keep pushing, because I don't want to just do 39 deals. I want to do 109 deals. So I'm consistently
and then
pushing
1,009
and putting
deals.
the time in.
Yes.
I'm now obviously, I'm a shareholder of the business that once employed me, and that's through property and nothing else. We've been able to use the capital that we have generated from deal packaging to acquire another letting agency, giving us a second branch and a second location in the northeast. We're in discussions with 2 other agencies regarding acquiring those as well. So we're really generating and building the business to become that income generating machine, which then in the future we'll pull the cash out of and look to invest that into the best deals that we find. Rather than selling them on, we'll keep those for ourselves. And that is the end goal. But right now we're focusing on everything we generate, investing back into the business to grow the business to the point where it gives enough surplus cash at the end that we can put that into property, and rather than packaging the entire of the northeast, we can buy the entire of the northeast.
So you'll soon be a future owner of the entire northeast.
Absolutely. That's where we want to be. That's where we want
fantastic.
to be.
And it was Progressive that helped you supercharge that.
Definitely. Without kind of having that education and knowing what I know now, we never would have got off the ground the way we do. And I suppose you don't know what you don't know. And as an agent, we kind of looked and thought, well, that's a nice buy-to-let. It's near the train station and it looks really tidy. And I'd have probably went and paid full asking price for it, because it's going to generate £500 a month in rent, when actually understanding how to analyse the numbers, what is a deal, what makes an investor tick, what to buy, what not to buy, has really turbocharged that. And it means now the deals that we're presenting to investors are deals. It's what they want.
Yes, what
and
they want.
sell.
I love it. I love it. And so for anybody out there who's thinking about getting into property, who's maybe on the fence, you were a little bit on the fence to begin with. What would you say to those people?
Just do it. Just do it. Just take the plunge, get on with it. As long as you're prepared to give it the time and put the actions in and focus on it, results will happen. Results will happen if you take action and you push at it. I'd like to think we're living proof of that. There's plenty of other examples in the community that are living proof of that as well. It's all about action and just getting on with it.
Fantastic. Well, Liam, it's been so brilliant to have you here in the studio with us today. Thank you for coming
having
in
me.
and sharing your story.
Thanks for having me. Thanks very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you want to find out how you can be successful, just like Liam has been successful, please feel free to reach out to Progressive Property, because it can change your life. You attended the multiple streams, Liam attended the multiple streams of property income event, and it was through the multiple streams of property income event that he discovered how to then branch into his owning of the whole Northeast. So we're looking forward to hearing about the rest of his journey. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.